Okay, hello everybody. My name is David Serpa. I am the president and CEO of our community. And this is our real estate education course, which is designed specifically for students in the state of California. If you're watching this and you're anywhere other than the state of California, don't be worried. Don't feel like you need to leave or anything like that. We're also going to give you an opportunity to meet Stuart Jacobson with Real Estate Exam Study Prep. And this group, Real Estate Exam Study Group, has 3,000 to 4,000 members, and it's people all over the United States that are looking to get licensed in real estate. So he's going to be joining us shortly. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be telling you a little bit more about what to expect this semester at our community real estate school. So every Monday, we're going to have a different special guest instructor. This Monday, it's going to be Stuart Jacobson, which he's already in our lobby. He's got a new microphone that he's ready to jump on and start sharing his information with us. And he's going to talk to you about getting started in real estate, what specifically to expect with real estate school, and all of the new questions that people tend to have when they're just getting started in real estate. And then every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we're going to jump into all of the boring stuff. All of the stuff that people said, David Serpa, you're not going to teach all of the boring stuff. Just do fun stuff. And I said, no, we really have to sink our teeth into this. So this Tuesday, we're going to do some reading. We've got about 50 pages of reading that we need to do. And if you are unable if we're unable to get the 50 pages done, that's where the homework is going to come in. So we're going to sink into real estate principles. And this is a free course. If you are already licensed, you can audit this course. If you are looking to get licensed, you can take this course for free. We have a scholarship director, Rosie Rodriguez, who will help you get licensed, help you cover those costs through a program called CalPACES. And so we don't want anyone to feel like they can't get licensed. We want to help every single person that wants to pursue their real estate license. We want to help them accomplish that. And so the major problem that we're seeing with real estate right now is that it's on the wineries and it's on the golf courses. And so I was trying to decide, what can I do to take real estate out of the wineries and off of the golf courses and into the high schools and onto Main Street. And so I decided that it's time for a new generation of people to pursue this career, make it a full-time career. So that's why we're really building this thing up from the bottom up. There is an information session which you could find on our website at educateempowerexplore.com. Again, that's educateempowerexplore.com, which will go into all the details of both the adult session and the student session. The student session runs Monday through Friday from 4 to 5 o'clock, and the adult session runs Monday through Friday from 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. So this Tuesday, we officially sink our teeth into real estate licensing, agency representation, agency law disclosure, conflict of interest, dual and sub-agency, and trust funds overview. And then Wednesday, the civil rights and fair housing laws. And I'll probably give you a couple of book recommendations, one of those being The Color of Law. It's a fantastic book. Fair Employment and Housing Acts, Chapter 9, the Housing Financial Discrimination, Equal Credit Opportunity Act, the Home Mortgage Disclosure Act, and HUD advertising guidelines. And then on Thursday, it's sort of the last day of schoolwork and whatnot before we get to sink our teeth into something a little bit more exciting. We're going to talk about property-related charges, selling agent and buyer's agent, the condition of property, environmental hazards, natural hazard disclosure, and lead-based paint disclosures. So if you guys can get through Thursday, you'll be well on your way. So after Thursday, we're going to have our first guided Socratic discussion. Every Friday, we're going to give you an opportunity to really sink your teeth in here on Zoom and participate in a discussion that will help you think objectively about your business. This Friday, the topic of discussion, something that you guys can start thinking about amongst yourselves, is why did you decide to get into real estate? It's a great time to get into real estate. We're getting ready to, we're experiencing currently the third great migration. We're getting ready to experience the post-boomer boom. There's going to be an incredible amount of wealth getting ready to transfer hands. And so if you've made the decision to get into real estate, you've made a very intelligent one, as far as I'm concerned. Your homework is to enroll at www.calpaces.com and use the discount code 6106 for your 30% off discount code, which will make the cost $102.55. Again, like I said, if you can't do it, or if you're auditing this class, or if you're not yet 16 or 17 years old and you just want to be here for informational purposes, this class is free. I'm not going to get paid anything for you taking it. I don't want anything financially. I just want to help good people get started in a great career. So like I said, there are scholarships available if you want to pursue that license. And that way we can actually get you those 3 certificates and get you moving towards your real estate license. And then I'm also going to have you watch a video, which you'll find in our course curriculum online, that is going to explain the limitations to being a finder. So there's an optional program, being a part of our community real estate education, where you can participate in a commission program. And the commission program gives you an opportunity to pursue commission, get paid while you're working. Mainly adults are interested in this. This is why it's, the commission boot camp starts at 10 o'clock in the morning. This school for high school students, we're not going to focus too much on that, but I want you to understand, if you want to participate in this career, you can still do that while you're in high school, legally, which is fantastic. So that explains to you what is going on this week. And so what we're going to do is we're going to jump in right now, and I'm going to bring our first special guest onto the show, Stuart Jacobson. Stuart, here we go.
Hey.
Welcome to the show, my friend.
Hey, thank you for having me on.
So for everybody watching at home, Stuart Jacobson runs a group called Real Estate Exam Study Group. This group has about 3,500 people. It is highly engaged with. There are people that are pursuing their real estate licenses from all over the country. And he releases daily content on his website. It's actually the first website, the first Facebook page that I want you to join by being a part of this group, because it's extraordinarily helpful, extraordinarily positive, and it's led by this fantastic man, Stuart Jacobson. Welcome to our community real estate school, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me on. And first and foremost, I just want to say this. It's absolutely fantastic that you guys have David and this program as a resource for you, because just a little background on me. I got licensed when I was 19 years old. I'll tell you a quick story. I actually didn't know, because we didn't have Google, Facebook, YouTube, social media back in the day. So what happened was I didn't know that they take a picture of you when you go and sit for the exam. So that day, it was my then girlfriend's prom, and I was worried about taking the test and then getting ready. So what I did was I went and took the test in a tuxedo, because I was like, this is going to be the most efficient way for me to do this. And so somewhere in Trenton, New Jersey, there's a picture of me passing my real estate exam at 19 and in a tuxedo. So that should be amusing to some of you guys who are like, that's
what a great story.
You're muted, Dave, so just so you
know. I was just telling you what a great story that you went to go pass it in a tuxedo.
It's great. So they see my smiling, gullible face, a lot more hair, a lot skinnier, a lot more svelte, but I'm in a tuxedo. But what I really want to impress upon you guys is this. There is a ton of resources that you have the privilege to take advantage of by being a part of this program, by being a part of the Facebook community that I created. I didn't have these when I was 19. These weren't available. These weren't situations that were, open to myself. So this is something that I truly implore you guys to take advantage of, because real estate has given me, not only have I been blessed with a fantastic career, I've done some really cool things. I've trained people across the country. I've gotten to travel all over this great world, and speaking and doing public engagement events, and all because I got my license at 19. And I will tell you this, there's a lot of different things that you could do with your license. So I always implore you guys to look into that, take a look. ask people like David, myself, when you join my community, you'll be able to see, there's a lot of people doing a lot of different things. They might be doing more of the traditional real estate, such as, buying and selling houses, helping people in that pursuit. They might be doing something more along the lines of investment. It really depends on the individual. It depends on what you're looking to do in real estate. So I always tell you guys, look, bottom line is this. Make sure that you know exactly what is open to you as far as your options for real estate is concerned, because there's a lot of different things that you can get into in regards to that. So look at the different options that you guys have. The other thing that I want to tell you is this. When it comes to preparing yourself for the real estate exam, when it comes to preparing yourself for this test, it's not an easy test, especially in California. It is going to be a grueling test. Some people really have struggles as far as passing, failing, doing that kind of thing, where it might take some people multiple attempts to pass. But you're in a place where you have a fantastic support system. Someone like David is absolutely fully intent on getting you to where you need to be. I didn't have that at 19. I floundered my first couple of years in real estate. I didn't have a goal. I didn't have a business plan. I didn't have these things that would have set me up for success more so than I'm set up right now. More so than, I see other people who got their license similar time as me. It's something that I really do implore you guys to take advantage of all these things. Take advantage of the Facebook communities. Take advantage of the groups. Take advantage of being a part of those systems where you could learn and set yourself up for a clear path to success, whatever that looks like for you. So something that I want you to really take inventory of right now, as you're starting on day one, have a plan. Have a plan. People fail, whether it be real estate or anything else, because they do not have a plan. It's very simple. I always tell people, if you want to be good at something, figure out what success looks like to you. I know what success looks like to me. I know what success looks like to other agents that I work with. I know what that is. And I always ask that question. What does success look like to you? Now, find out what that is and figure out how you get there. Because what happens is this. People typically waste time trying to figure out what it is that they want to do. We're not realizing that there's so many different avenues that you could go into in real estate. So that's why I think that what you need to do is explore that. Explore what maybe getting your license could open up for you. The different paths that might look like the traditional path, and then something that might not. There's property management. There are people who do rentals. There are people who focus on agricultural properties, industrial properties. I work with real estate agents across the country that do so many different things. And let me just do this. They do so many different things in regards to, I'm just trying to figure out, is it this? Because I have this little dot that's in my way on this webcam that I'm trying to see. I'll figure it out later on what that is. That's really bothering me, but I'll find out what that thing is right there. What I'm going to tell you is this. There's so many things you can do in real estate that it's endless. I've worked so many different positions in my career. I've worked salary positions. I've worked full commission. I've done it all. So really what I think that you guys should do, and David also, I know that I haven't opened this up. I know there are people in the Zoom that may be chatting or asking questions. If you do have questions, I implore you to go ahead and ask them of me, because I'd be more than happy to answer any of them. I know I didn't open that up.
So let me say, can I speak to that really quick? There's a lot of really great stuff that you're saying in here, and I don't want to wait too long before I throw it out. You said you floundered your first few years. So one of the things that I would love to ask you is, what would you have done differently for those first couple of years? Maybe you could start there.
Yeah. So what I could have done differently is have a plan. I'll tell you this. What happened was, at 19, I didn't really have a discomfort. You have to understand, and this might be something that you guys relate to really well. I was 19, I was an only grandchild. I was an only child living in my parents' basement. I had no motivation for money. There was not much that I would sit there and go, oh man, I have a really bad situation. I need to put a roof over my head. I need to pay rent. I need to do all these kinds of things. So what happened was there wasn't a big motivating factor for me to say, I need to have a plan of some sort. Okay. I need to have, I need to figure out what's going on. I need to figure out how I get myself money, how I become successful. I really didn't have a plan, and I didn't need to. There was no discomfort for me. So I think that, going back to the question David asked me, which is, what would I have done differently? I would have had a plan.
Sure.
Plan, because I think that if I didn't flounder my first couple of years, and also too, I didn't have the resources you have. So I didn't have a David, I didn't have a Stu, I didn't have great resources such as our community to be able to catapult me to where I needed to be in regards to my career. So what happened was this: lack of resources, lack of motivation equals flounder Stu.
Mm.
By design, I was in a situation where, and here's the thing, if you are not motivated and you do not have the resources, you will set yourself up for eminent doom, eminent failure. But here's the thing. Go ahead, David. You want to say something?
No, go for it. I think you clearly have a place where you're going.
What I was going to say is this. You have the resources. Now what you have to do is find your motivating factor. What is your discomfort? Do you want to get out of your parents' basement? Do you want to drive the Maserati? What is it for you? What makes you get up in the morning? What makes you want to take that next step? Figure out what that is, and then use your tools and resources to help you achieve those goals.
You said something really important. You said, what does success look like to you? And I think that that's a really important part of it. So for me, I'm on the autism spectrum. For those of you that don't know, I don't really care about things like money a whole heck of a lot. I don't care about elaborate vacations. I much prefer sitting in my sweatpants at my house. So when I look at this kind of stuff, I think, well, but the truth is you can give more when you have more. It's easier to give from abundance than it is to give from a place of scarcity. And so, if I could chime in a little bit, when I first got into real estate, I went from a place where I made $35,000 in my second month. I made more in 1 month than I made the year prior getting shot at in Afghanistan. And so when I look at this stuff and I think, well, there's so much opportunity for a lot of the people that are specifically in your guys' Generation Z, and I'm looking at you, Carly, and I'm looking at you, James, and the future here. There's so much opportunity, but the truth is there are not enough people out there passing that information along. And so that's why I'm really excited that we've been able to establish this relationship, Stu, and that you're passing this information along, because you're hitting on a lot of things that are so crucial. You said it's important to have a community, and it's incredibly important to have a community. You didn't have the resources. When you're able to network, and you don't know what you don't know until you realize you don't know it. And so if we can help you increase your thought capacity, expose you to something that you didn't think about necessarily before, there's this awful preconceived notion about real estate agents, and who we are and what we are, and that, we're all tired and we're all grumpy, and maybe a lot of that's true. But the truth is what we can do is we can really change that narrative a little bit and breathe some life into it, because this is a great full-time career. You have a lot of opportunities to serve people. You're not just in a situation where, yeah, you can get paid very well. You brought up the Maseratis and things like that. I ride a moped to and from work in a suit. But there's a lot of opportunities out there. But the truth is this creates a lifestyle where you can do a lot of good for a lot of people, even if you're not interested in the Maseratis. So it's kind of a choose your own adventure career. I'll send it back to you, my friend.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I did, and it's funny because I do talk about this too, where I had at 20 years old, I made, just like David said, we made 35,000 in 1 month. I mean, it's crazy. Look, when I was 20 years old, I was wearing custom-made suits, and I drove a BMW Z4, and I went to the outlandish parties. I did that. I lived that life. it wasn't me. It is some people. Listen, they're not knocking it. If that's what you want to pursue, it's open to you. I'm of the same mindset as Dave. I drive a Toyota Prius. Yeah, I could drive a Benz. I could drive a BMW. I choose to do that. I live in a modest house. I live a modest life because I like doing what I do. I like educating people. I could be out there selling homes, which I was doing, but what happened was I was just drawn to and pulled into educating and teaching and sharing my experiences and showing people like yourselves what you could potentially be doing. There's so much. There's just so many opportunities for you to be successful, to be happy, to have a life that is fulfilling, that is giving back. And real estate is the path to so many different things, so many different end games.
There is a lot to be said for, like you said, if you want to have that lifestyle, you can have it here, right? There are sort of that Gary V, hustle till you die kind of thing, like hustle, motivate kind of thing is great. But like, I'm actually finding that I'm surrounded by a lot of people who want to give back. Yourself, Stuart Jacobson, Janice Lovendahl, with you in the mentorship program at EXP. But these are people that were already giving back, right? So I do have a question from the class. This comes in from Jackson. Jackson says, what was your first goal or plan in real estate, and how did it turn out?
That's a fantastic question. So my first goal in real estate was getting that BMW. And I got it. so if I was looking at it now, what my goal is, I work with, you're talking thousands of people between the different outlets that I have that I work with people on. And Dave, if you just don't mind just muting yourself.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I was getting a little bit of an echo, so it was hard to focus. So that's why I wanted to make sure that I answered this question properly, because I think it's a really great question. As I said, my first goal was the BMW. I got it. I achieved it. So it was a monetary goal, right? It was a monetary goal. I think that my goals changed, though, as I got older. I wanted to have some of my business aspects, some of my passive income in real estate cover my mortgage, cover my car, cover, things that I needed to live a life. I got married. I wanted to start a family. So my goals changed, my priorities changed. So what happened was I looked at different avenues in real estate that I could go to that were less risky. So I invested in different things. There was a lot of stuff I did. And I think that what you should take away from this is whatever your goal is, there's different ways to achieve it. And what you should be doing is speaking like people, like mentors that you have here, people in the community, as to, here's my goal. How do I get to achieve that? I think that's really the key. That's something that's going to really be the differentiating factor, is the resources that you have, the resources that are here, that are given to you, that I didn't have. I didn't have these. So I think that it was very easy for me, without mentorship, without any help, to be able to set up a monetary goal and then to hit it. It was just, here's a hammer, here's a nail, get it into the board. I didn't need any extra training for that. It was just the hustle till you die mentality.
Sure. And so when I got started, I was 28 years old, fresh out of the Marine Corps with a fused and reconstructed ankle. And, I was out door knocking, and I bought 4 suits on a credit card. And so the thing is I never really had any goals per se, but success came to me a lot more easily than I had expected, because I just worked. And real estate agents, we overcomplicate it by not working. And so the thing is who is more willing to work than youth, than young people, right? And so I said, well, what was I willing to do for money at 18 years old? And how hard was I willing to work? And I can tell you, there's not a lot of people out there that are working that hard. But I can also, to speak to your question there, Jackson, I became successful at everything that I did, to a point to where everybody kept saying, and without a goal. And so everybody kept saying, well, what's next, David? What's next? What's next? And I never had an idea of what was next. So I kept shooting past the goal I was never satisfied. I did get into it. I got divorced. You know, I went through a spiritual crisis and I had to walk away from real estate. And so when I look at this stuff, I heard a great quote recently, and it said, success built quickly builds ego, while success built slowly builds character. And I think that my first time around, I had way too much ego being stoked. I was being thrown on the covers of all these different magazines and everything. And it was, 100% of my team was making $100,000. I was not selfish. I wasn't greedy. My transaction coordinator, who you'll meet later in this, in this program, was making over $100,000 on my team. But at the end of the day, if you don't have clear goals, and if you don't know who you are, which is why it's so important for me to talk to you when you're young, then it's very easy to lose yourself in this industry.
Super. There's because you run into a situation where, again, there's so many different paths that you literally could go down a rabbit hole, 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 and actually just get nowhere. So that's why I give you a perfect analogy. And I think I might have even told David this, and this is one that I really love doing. One of the things that I always get asked is, choosing a broker, people, because I work with a lot of people across the country, and they always ask me, how do I choose a broker? How do I know what company or what real estate path is right for me? And I said, well, when you're interviewing brokers or when you're going out and you're trying to figure out what path is right for you, it's very similar to what my wife does to me when we go out to eat. So there's a strip. Picture this. In my hometown, there is a main strip, a main drag that has restaurant after restaurant after restaurant after restaurant. It's a beach town. And the maitre d's are all outside, the hostesses. So what we do is I usually go to my wife and say, what do you want to eat? And she'll say, well, why don't we go and see what the specials are? So what'll happen is this. We'll go to one place. We'll hear the specials and we'll hear what makes that restaurant great. Why should we eat there tonight? Then we'll go to the next place. We'll hear why we should eat there. Then we'll go to the following place and we'll go, why should we eat there? And then at the end of it, I go, so honey, where would you like to eat? And she says to me, she goes, I really could go for a burger. I said, then why don't we just go to every single place and say, which one is going to get me the best burger? What is the best burger you have on the menu? So listen to what I'm going to tell you, because my stories come full circle eventually. What I'm going to tell you is this. If you go through life and you ask everyone, what do you specialize in? What should I be doing in real estate? What should I be doing in real estate? What should I be doing in real estate? That's like listening to everyone and saying, what is the special of your restaurant? And then without saying to them, hey, I'm in the mood for a burger. What's the best burger you have? Boom. That's when you have a goal, you go to people and you say, how are you going to help me achieve my goals? Then what happens is they might not have a burger on the menu. And then you know very quickly that that's not the place for you, or that's not the thing that you should be doing, or that's not the path that you should be going down. You need to figure out, are you going to them because they just pitched you a really good, they pitched you a really good special? Or are you going to them because they have the exact thing that you want? They have the resources, tools to make you successful, to make you hit your goals.
So we are going to get into this in week 12. We're actually going to, as part of the requirement for this program, is I want you to interview with 3 different brokerages and or teams. And so that will be part of the homework. If you guys remain a part of this group, a part of our community for that long, we actually want you to start getting involved in the interview process. So that being said, heading back towards our community and real estate education. So Jackson said your lack of satisfaction made you work harder, it seems. That certainly can be the case, but I think that the truth is we can work hard while still being grateful, while still having a certain element of being grateful. And I was frustrated with myself. I was driving myself with a whip. Nothing was ever good enough for me. Personally, I was giving plenty of love for everybody else, but I wasn't holding enough love for myself. And so what I want people to do is I want you to understand that there are better ways to drive yourself than with a whip. And there's better company to keep than people who are always asking you what's next and more. And so that's what I wanted to expose everyone to through our community. So you talked about what does success look like? And I want to get into that. But before I get into that, what are some of the top questions that you have people asking you about as far as getting their real estate license in California and getting started? What are some of the top questions that you're being asked?
Sure. So of course, I kind of went over the, how do I figure out where I want to go? What real estate path do I go down? The other thing too is people ask me how they should be studying, because I think that, especially in California right now, a lot of you're running into a logistical issue in regards to testing centers and the length of time between you studying and then actually being able to sit and take the test. So what happens is it's a long play in regards to your study for that actual state exam. So people are asking me how they should pace themselves. And what you have to understand is the reason why that is the top question, and the reason why I think that you all who are listening to this probably won't find it as difficult, is because I'm usually dealing with people who are, later on in life. They haven't studied for a reading comprehension test in a very, very long time.
Mm.
So you're talking about people who don't know how to study, don't know how to pace themselves, don't know how to manage that and handle a reading comprehension test. You guys have an upper hand. And here's what you should also take from my answer to David's question about this. You not only have an upper hand, and you probably know how to study, you know how to pace yourself, and you know how to not make it a daunting task. A lot of the people who are getting into real estate are not young like you.
Mm.
You have an upper hand to differentiate yourself from your competition. I cannot tell you how valuable being young, tech savvy, hungry, how valuable that is in 2021 versus in 2003 when I got my license. And I think this is one of the reasons I wasn't as successful. In 2003, my youth was looked at as a detriment. I didn't look old enough. People wouldn't buy a home from me because, understand, we were still buying homes out of an MLS binder that you had to go to a real estate office. There was no internet. So my value in being youthful was very, very, they looked at me as someone who said, I didn't know anything. So it wasn't a value to be youthful. But in 2021, when we're talking about new social media opportunities out there like Clubhouse, TikTok, guess what? When you're going up in a listing presentation and you're talking about different ways that you could market yourself, or you're talking to a client just on different ways that you can help them, different ways you can find things, how you're going to navigate that process easier, you are differentiating yourself from the old rickety dinosaurs who do not want to change. So understand that you are ushering in a new era of real estate, in a new era of doing things that basically you're going to get to a point where your youth is going to be valuable, not only in trying to pass the test, but in your success. So I see.
I'm so glad you said it and I didn't say it. So the truth is according to NAR, I think that the average real estate agent is 57 years old or 62 years old or something like that. And that's the average Californian is 35 years old, 34 years old. It's like the age gap is massive, and it's a great career. So what I would like to do is I would like to because I have no reason to hold people on longer than is necessary. I want to make sure that everyone gets a chance to ask their questions if they have questions. But the way that I look at this is, if we got an hour-long lesson in 40 minutes, then I'll cut you guys loose. But I don't want to take the fact that we've got Stuart Jacobson here, who's probably the biggest wealth of information as far as getting licensed in the country goes. And I don't want to take this for granted. So I appreciate your time. So if you guys have any other questions in the chat group, feel free to type them up, and then I will ask them of Stuart. Stuart, I will ask you a question that you kind of brought up earlier in the broadcast. You said, you brought up, what does success look like? And, I think that that's a very good question to ask yourselves. What does success look like? What does success look like to you, Stuart?
So, at the beginning of last year, I really shifted my focus onto my YouTube channel, my things that I was doing to put my information out there to help people across the country pass the real estate exam. This year, I set goals up to reach out to people like David, grow my resource pool, basically make sure that people knew who I was and what I do and how I could be a resource to help them. So basically, I'm trying to grow the different places which I get exposure, where I get a chance to come on here and speak to you guys, because this to me is part of my growth, it's part of my success. Okay, because I'm getting a chance to speak with you guys. I'm getting a chance to work out all my audio video issues, figuring out what that black thing is over there. It's over there. Okay, now I know where it is. But it's like doing stuff like that where, bottom line is this. Also, even when I'm talking to you guys too, you have to realize I started recording YouTube videos at the beginning of 2019. So what happened was, what's funny is if you look at my 2019 recordings versus my recordings now, audio, video, everything has been upgraded. So what happens is what I always talk about is this: I'm in a constant caterpillar cocoon stage where I become a butterfly and then I become a caterpillar again, I feel like. Because as I grow, I realize, and also too, I'm going to say this, I try to kind of step out of my shell. So reaching out to David, I'll tell you how David and I started talking. And it goes to a testament to David. I was in my real estate career, I had read his book, and I said, "Oh, I'm just going to reach out to David. I see him on Facebook. I'm just going to reach out to him." Now, I didn't know what we were going to talk about. Okay, I didn't even know if he was going to answer my call or answer my message. But he gave me his phone number and he said, "Call me." And we spoke for an hour about nothing. And then through the years, I continued to stay in touch with him. I continued to stay in touch, and David always took my calls. Never ever turned down a phone call, even if there wasn't anything in it for him. Even if there wasn't, like, he didn't pick up the phone and go, "All right, what is it? What is this phone call going to be for?" It was just, he was like, "I'm going to put good into the world, and I'm going to get good back." So what looks like success to me is growth. I want to see personal. I want to see growth in my community, my online community, reaching out to people like yourselves watching this, helping you guys grow, finding paths to success. So if I just stay here in my office and I do not help people grow, then I'm not growing. I grow with you, you grow with me, by then saying to people, Stu is a fantastic, wonderful, amazing person, just like I've introduced David to other people that I've met. And he's gotten opportunities from this. And we've all been better for the connections and the relationships that we have. So my goal is growth. And that happens with doing things like this, talking to people like yourselves.
Absolutely. I think when you teach, you learn even more. And that's one of the reasons why I'm excited about doing this. When I was developing the curriculum, there are things like, tech, which, believe it or not, I don't love tech. Tech is not my friend. But we've got Nick Baldwin, who runs, Lab Coat Agents with over 130,000 real estate agents throughout the country, throughout the world. And he's going to be talking to you guys about how to use artificial intelligence in your business. So in the time that it took me to ask for people to post some questions, the chat group popped off. So I'm going to throw some questions at you, and I appreciate you guys participating. So the first question is going to be from James. He says, "What should you do in your first month in real estate after licensing?"
Your first month should begin right now. Man, there's nothing. Listen to me. There is, and it was this, James. Just nod your head, Dave. James asked this question.
James.
James. Okay, perfect. Because here's the thing. Something that I teach about communication too, and people-to-people skills. So I always like to use people's names as much as I can. So James, fantastic question. What you should be doing in your first month of real estate. Welcome to your first month of real estate. There's a lot of things you can be doing right now. Figuring out. So here's where people usually fall behind, is they don't realize there's a lot of things that you can start doing. Okay. Now, develop a plan as far as what your day is going to look like. What is your week going to look like? What is your month going to look like? What are the marketing materials that you're going to be using? What is your Facebook page going to look like? All those things, because here's what happens, okay? People get their license and then they go, "Oh my God, I got to create a Facebook page. Oh my God, I got to create this. Oh my God, I got to do this. Oh my God, I got to do that." And then what happens is I sit there and I say to them, I say, "What were you doing last month?" Why couldn't you do that now? Welcome to your first day in real estate. Congratulations. You're on your path.
That was great. Absolutely fantastic. So the truth is, your first day in real estate has already started in a lot of ways, but there's nothing really wrong to do as far as I'm concerned. So, my first book was called The Machine Gunner's Guide to Real Estate, which I do not suggest that you read, but it was accuracy by volume. And so the thing is, you've got to try out everything, decide what works for you. For me, I never really liked cold calling, so I didn't do a lot of it, but I did a lot of open houses. And people would tell me when I got started, they'd say, "You're young." And I said, "Well, I actually went to school for this, but everybody went to school for this, right?" And so it just was kind of something that I used to kind of flip it back. Hey, I'm young, but I'll tell you what. They said, "How many houses have you sold?" I haven't sold a house. That means that your house is going to be all that much more important to me. So the thing is, there's all these things that you can do. We're going to teach you how to do it during the course of this course, of this class. We're going to introduce you to Canva. We're going to introduce you into branding and help you get your business started. Part of the requirement for this course is getting your Facebook business page up and running, because on day one, when you're licensed, if not before then, I want to be able to launch you guys into a fantastic career. Stuart, did you have anything to add before I run into the next question?
No, shoot. Go
Man,
ahead, James. That was a fantastic question, though. I really loved it.
You nailed it. Okay, the next question is from Carly. Carly says, "What does the licensing process consist of for other states?" So can you kind of explain to them what California is versus these other states? We're an escrow state, and all these. So what is it like here versus other states?
So I don't know exactly California, because what you'll understand about me is I'm all the way on the East Coast, but I tutor and work with people across the country. Okay, because a portion of your test is going to be national material, like material that's going to be asked in California, it's going to be asked in Arkansas, and it's going to be asked in Maine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just what a deed is, it doesn't change. So each state's licensing requirements are different, because what happens is they have different governing bodies in the state. Okay, and what happens is they all have a slightly different feel to it. So as far as California, as far as my understanding is, there are pre-licensure classroom requirements, okay? And then you have to apply with the DRE, right? Just nod your head, David, if you're right. Yes, and then you'll be able to sit for the exam, and they'll allow you to schedule a testing date, and then you will sit for the state exam. Your state exam in California, I believe, if I remember off the top of my head, is 130 questions. And it is going to consist of state-specific portion, which is much smaller than the national portion. So that's why I do tutor a lot of people in California. I do work with a lot of people in California, because about 70 to 75% of the test is going to be what they would call national material that would be like, what is a deed, which doesn't change anywhere in the 50 states. So it's all different each state.
And then I'm actually going to expand on that a little bit. With California, it's the only state that I know of where we can have the Finder program, which means that you can earn commission while you're learning. I don't know of any other state that has that. California is an escrow state, which means that we enter into a period called the escrow process, or the escrow, where it's about 30 to 45 days. Sometimes it's 60 days, where it gives everyone an opportunity to perform. Other states have a closing table. I think New York is one of them.
New York has a closing table.
So there's a lot of different things, and there's also different licensing requirements. I know, because we're trying to launch an Our Community real estate school in like 5 or 6 different states right now. I've been talking to people in Alaska. I've been talking to people in Florida, in Nevada, Arizona, Washington, and in Maine about starting an Our Community real estate school. And I can tell you, there's not a lot of really high requirements anywhere. It's really one of those careers where there's a pretty low barrier of entry, which is why I want to pack it full of absolutely wonderful people, because there's no college degree that's required. So if you want to get your real estate license while you're going to college, it's a great thing to do. It's a great opportunity. It even works as a side hustle. Stuart, anything to add before I go on to the next question?
No, go ahead, Carly. Great question.
Okay. This will probably be the last question unless anything pops up. Another question from Jackson says, what are the things that you have to say to someone buying a house? As in, what are the things that people are looking for you that you have to explain? Like scripting, Stuart.
So, I'm going to tell you, a story, and it goes to one of my philosophies. And here's what's great: is my philosophy of working with buyers and sellers versus other people's. It's going to be totally different. And what you're going to find is your style is going to be somewhere in the middle. I was working with an agent who said to me, and everyone always says to me this when working with buyers, they say, make sure they're pre-qualified. I was working with a hedge fund manager in Manhattan with one of my agents, and my agent was taking the lead on it and got him qualified. He had more money than God. Basically, like if you wanted to buy 5 helicopters tomorrow, yes, he can do that.
That was your guy.
Okay. And he was like 32. And so I would call him super qualified. He went to see multiple homes. He went to see all these things. So we asked all the right questions. Okay. But we didn't ask the most important question because he was never pulling the trigger on anything. Like we asked him, how many bedrooms do you want? How many bathrooms do you want? All this kind of stuff. So finally, what happened was he took me out to a nice steak dinner because I insisted. I was like, you know what? If he's going to pay, I'm getting a nice steak dinner out of this. So I sat down and I asked him, I said to him, I said, I have to ask you something. We've taken you to umpteen homes. We have taken you to all these places. We have met all your requirements and then some. I've gotten you 5 tools with one. You wanted 2. I was like, what? I said to him, I said, why are you buying a house? What's your discomfort? And he said to me, he goes, well, everyone told me I should be buying a house. I said, where do you live? He goes, I live in my parents' basement. I said to him, I said, what's your day look like? He said, I come home from work. He said, my mom's, traditional Italian mother has dinner cooked for me. I said to him, I said, so I told him, I said, it doesn't sound like you have a bad situation. He goes, nope. And I said to him, I said, I looked at my agent, I said, he's never going to buy a home until he gets uncomfortable with the situation, until he finds someone, meets someone and everything. And I looked at him, I said, thank you so much. I'm going to continue eating this steak. So who do you think is going to win the football game on Sunday? That was literally how our conversation went. And I looked at my agent, I said to him, I said, listen, I said, you had them qualified on paper. This person had every reason why they, why they could afford a home, but didn't have the discomfort. People move because they're uncomfortable with their situation. Give me a poor person who's in the worst case scenario, who has to leave right now, and I will show you someone who is highly motivated and will figure out how to get money, okay? Give me a rich person who's super comfortable, has more money than God. I will show you someone who's never going to leave their house. You have to ask them. It's actually, there's a rabbi who tells a story on YouTube. Really quick, I'll tell you this one. He says, what is the stimulus? What makes a lobster know it has to shed its shell? Well, when it gets too uncomfortable, when it becomes too small and it's too tight, it's too cramped in. So if you are uncomfortable, if the lobster is comfortable, living fine in its shell, it doesn't have to shed its shell. But that stimulus to make it shed its shell is that discomfort. Without discomfort, you will not do anything. So you must find your buyer's discomfort and find out what their future promise is. If there is no discomfort, there is no buyer.
Yeah, so if you wanted to watch, so I started putting out YouTube videos back in 2014, Stuart. So I like way back, and when I was holding my iPad and shooting them my virtual tours like this, and you can find all of those on my YouTube channel, my original one, David Serpa at eXp Realty. One of those videos though is a speaking series that I did when I toured the Western United States, telling people the 3 breakdowns of a deal. And I would tell people, because I'm autistic, and a lot of how I talk to people is scripting. I talk to people, the same way regularly. I ask the same questions. I find that a lot of success is hacking these algorithms, and part of that is conversation. And so I found that people's breakdowns in success were either they were not able to obtain the information at the open house, they weren't able to get that person out the door for an appointment, which would be the second breakdown, or the third breakdown would be they could not get people to write the offer once they took them out showing. And so if you guys are interested, you could look that up on 3 breakdowns of a deal on YouTube, and that will pop up. It's a Keller Williams speaking series that I did. But the truth is we've overcomplicated it with all this scripting. Just talk to people. Just be a human being and find out what people need, what their compelling reason is, and then take it from there. But Stuart, it's been a long day. My phone my computer has about 7% left on it. And I want to make sure that I'm able to finish this video up the right way, and even though it's all plugged in. So there are no other questions in the group chat at this point. So what I would like to do is I would like to give you the final word. Is there anything else that you would like to leave our students with? How can they contact you and where can they find you?
Sure. Real Estate Exam Study Group on Facebook. Okay, you could join. Feel free to reach out. I'm active on Facebook. Real Estate Exam Prep on YouTube. And it's very easy to find me. I'm out there. The last thing I want to say is have fun. I think that a lot of what we do is so serious sometimes, and so, just we're trying to find the goals, and we're trying to Gary V certain things, and we're trying to do our hustle, and trying to get the money, and trying to do this, and trying to. One of the most beautiful, simple things about my real estate career is I've met awesome people. I've been to some really cool places. I've seen some really crazy homes. I've gotten to some of the biggest smiles that I have in my adult life have come from the people and the joys that I have had in real estate. I will tell you this. I will tell you one final story. I just sold a home to somebody who had never seen the home. Okay, never saw the home, never even seen the town that I put them in. It was all because of the coronavirus lockdowns. And what happened was this. They got to see the home. And I put them in a great beach community. And they were living in New York City. And I got a phone call about 3 weeks later after they closed. And they loved the home. They loved the home. Everything was great. They thanked me. And the wife said to me, she said, I need to tell you a story, Stu. And I need to tell you what happened this past weekend. Their daughter was about 11 years old. Went to a restaurant, an outdoor restaurant on the water in this new beach community I put them in. And her daughter started to cry and said, I never knew you could live in a town that you vacation in. And it was something so simple that really touched me and made me realize what we do is a lot of fun. There's a lot of ups. There's a lot of downs. I'm not going to tell you I've never cried at a closing table. I've never had a situation where I've just sat there and pulled my hair out of my head. I mean, I had I looked like David Serpa, and I had a six-pack and everything. Now it just jiggles and it's nothing. But have fun. Really, you're going to really do some amazing things in real estate, but have fun.
You know what? That was an absolutely fantastic way to end it. You absolutely will cry when passing off keys. I like to say that I'm an empath. I pick up on people's emotions a lot. And sometimes it's so emotional at the end when you pass off keys to a first-time home buyer or, just anyone at the end of this transaction. It just feels like such a big deal. And what a cool thing that we get. What a fantastic job. What a beautiful opportunity that we get to find people their homes. So Stuart, I want to say thank you. We do have some questions about stock markets and things like that. Janice Lovendahl is reminding me to remind you where you can find the class schedule. Thank you, Janice. So Stu, thank you so much. I'm going to sign off with you, and then I'm going to give everybody some closing notes. Thank you, my brother. Have a great rest of your day. Okay.
You too.
All right, everybody. I appreciate you guys watching. That was the first class here with the real estate, or with our community real estate education. And what I wanted to tell you guys about here was my book. We talked about play, which is a big deal. Have fun, which is an absolutely big deal. But what we did not talk about was, how to have fun. And really, it's just by leaving your mind alone. I wrote a book called Zen Business, an Eastern approach to the Western business climate, which I would recommend. It is on Audible. It is on Amazon if you want to check it out. But one of the premises that we talk about is work as play. Why do something if you're going to hate doing it? This career is such a joy, and yes, it can be stressful, but there is really not a better job out there for me than real estate. So I just want to say thank you to everyone for being a part of this first class. If you have questions on what we're doing next, if you want to know what's coming up in the curriculum, what homework is due when, feel free to check out the website educateempowerexplore.com. Again, that's educateempowerexplore.com. And then that will give you the registration link. You can feel free to share that registration link out. And then feel free to invite any one of your friends that want to be a part of this. We can always send them the backlog classes because we are recording them. And really, honestly, Carly, Janice, James, Jackson, I appreciate you guys being a part of this school for the very first class. I've been thinking about this for a very, very, very long time, and I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to share it with you. So I'm looking forward to reading to you guys all the boring stuff on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And then on Friday, I'll be looking forward to finding out from you what made you interested in getting started in real estate. So at this point, I'm going to stop the meeting and just say thank you to everybody. Have a great rest of your Monday, and I will see you tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Everybody have a great day.